Hello everybody, and welcome back to Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2 March of the Minis. So, in the last part we went through the first 5 levels up the second to last floor before reaching the rooftop. And now for this one, we are definitely going to be going through the rest of the levels, and we're going to be going through the last mini game of Shy Guy Smash. And then we will most likely be taking on the next. Then we're most likely going to be taking on the next boss fight against Donkey Kong. But anyways, everyone, as you can see here, yeah, with this level, introduce actually brings in the Snifits. Now the Snifits while they don't exactly move that much. It's just that they fire their shots at least like 4 or 5 times, at least 4 or 5 times, and when they do, then with each shot they fire, they actually get themselves they will get themselves pushed they will essentially get themselves pushed back. But then afterwards is that they will essentially go back to where they were. They will essentially go back to where they were. Yeah, let's say for example, this Snifit here. Now he will do this, like he'll shots. Yeah, and then he will essentially will just go back to where he was. Oh god, whoa, ow. Okay, yeah, that was definitely bad timing for me to do that. Yeah, that was definitely bad timing. But anyways, now as for this level in general, yeah, I would definitely say this one's definitely one of the more tougher ones to go through, considering that we have all of these crash cons around, and of course, not to mention the Snifit, Snifit, who is most likely is going to get in our way for the most part. Now we also just gotta find a way so that we can actually get every single mini Mario towards the pipes. So then we can actually try to get the perfect. So then you can actually try to get the perfect combo. And of course, as usual, the non-stop one. There we go. Yeah, that right there is what you just saw. It's essentially how you get that big coin there. Yeah, especially when you're dealing with the Snifits. Oh god, why did I not jump? I thought for sure I jumped. I thought for sure I had the mini Mario be jumped. Damn. Yeah, that certainly sucks. Okay, well, let's try this again. Okay, yeah, this time, I think I'll have this mini Mario go after the letter first. Oh, whoa! Well, I think I was sort of close for that mini Mario to get hit by the spikes there. Yeah, he was just like slightly off. He was just slightly off the edge there. Yeah, and I mean really slightly off the edge there. Man, that was so close, man. That was so close. But anyways, like I said, yeah. But anyways, now that I've gotten the letter and the big coins, now I just need to get all of the other. Now I just need to get the other mini Marios up to where that pipe is. without essentially getting myself hit without getting any of them hit by the Snifit. Okay, now we're gonna wait for you. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the right moment for me to get off the crash card so that I can instantly just hop on the Snifit. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'll wait for him to go back. There we go. Okay, now let's get all these guys through the door. And done. Way to go! Yeah, and speaking of Mario, yeah, considering that his name is literally on the title, yeah, you would think that Mario would do more, but it turns out he really doesn't in this game. Yeah, there's only like one instance in this whole entire game where Mario actually does something to help Pauline, but that's really it. Yeah, but you're gonna see what that is for when we actually get to that, which is actually a lot more sooner than you would think. But anyways, everyone, now as for this one, I believe this is the last level in the game where we have a golden Mario. Yeah, I want to say this is the last level where we have a golden Mario. And not to mention, we have like not just one, but three circus, three circus cons. Yeah, I think this right here is the only time in the game where we actually have three circus cons show up within a level. Yeah. Yeah, that is certainly something. But anyways, now I'm just gonna find a way so I can get the golden Mario to go last before the other two here. Yeah, so then I can get the other mini Marios to proceed on without that. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'll just let you guys be on the move. Okay, yeah, hang on. Come on. Okay, there we go. Oh, come on. Oh my god! That is good timing right there. Yeah, thanks to the few of the mini Marios constantly jumping on each other, I was able to get the gold mini Mario was able to be there in last. Man, that was actually really good timing. But unfortunately, I still didn't get enough points because, yeah, unfortunately I did not get the gold on that one because I had at least one mini Mario stopped. So, yeah, while that timing for those mini Marios, just with the mini Marios constantly jumping on each other was really good. It was just that, well, it was just for the fact that, yeah, I didn't exactly get all the mini Marios to not stop moving all the time. But anyways, now for this level, once again we have Snapjaws. And once again we have a situation where, yeah, trying to proceed on through that may be a difficult task. But however, I will say this. If you can actually get the Snapjaws to fall into that little bit of water, then you do not have to worry about them all throughout the rest of the level. So yeah, essentially, if you want to avoid the Snapjaws altogether on this level, try your best to make sure they stop in the make sure they actually drop themselves in the in the water. But anyways, now there is also that jump block. Now there is a blue spring right next to where the there is a blue spring that is right next to that. That is right next to a blue spring and the pink blocks are. Yeah, and I have a feeling that if we want to be able to get that, now we're gonna have to drop that spring downwards. Yeah, we're gonna have to drop that spring downwards. Yeah, so yeah, and also while at the same time making sure that while at the same time making sure that the conveyor belt actually that the conveyor belt is moving towards to the left. Yeah. So yeah, this one, even though it looks pretty simple enough as it is, but you also have to keep in mind of but it's definitely gonna be a lot of time consuming going on. Yeah. No, wait, actually, we probably don't need to, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, considering that we have these pink blocks here. Right. Yeah, I just realized that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, make sure that you don't fall in. Now I'll think the pink blocks I'll remove. Yeah, obviously not everyone's gonna be able to fit on the elevator, so what to do? Yeah, I think I'll start moving you, but at the same time making sure that this mini Mario does not get us out of a whole heap of trouble here. Okay. Now, as for you, yeah, let's have for you be dropped in. Let's see that you be dropped in the water, Tim. Yeah, so we make sure that you do not get in our way. And then there's that one on top, which is probably not the best idea for me to lower to the water right now, considering that, yeah, I have a bunch of mini Marios right next to him, so yeah, it's probably not in the best idea for me to do that. But anyways, now let's get these guys upwards. Okay, now we have ourselves a straight line. Okay, now the pathway is cleared enough. Okay. Oh no, guy, no, don't you dare move the other way, please. Okay, there we go. Whew. Okay, that was definitely a lot of time consuming, I will admit that much. Yeah, that definitely took me way longer than expected for me to get that one done. But at the very least, I managed to get the gold, a lot more points than I really needed to get the actual gold on. But anyways, everyone, now for the last actual level for the entire game. And it is, let's just say it's a big one. Yeah, we not only have a few circus cons, but we also have Snifits, and we also have the bomb blocks. And we also have the moving, 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 and we also have the moving up, and we also have the moving, and we also have the moving on. We also have the moving on platforms again. Now, I would say if you want to get that letter, yeah, make sure you do not destroy the things. Yeah, make sure you don't destroy the blocks that are near that big coin. Yeah, considering that you're probably gonna need them so that you can get stuff upwards. And also at the same time, make sure you do not destroy the cover that you are going to need to protect yourself from the Snifit. So, yeah, simply just make sure that you essentially have all that covered. But anyways, now I think this is also another situation where if you want to get the perfect combo on this, yeah, it's definitely gonna be quite a bit of a hectic one to go through. Oh yeah, and also now for some portions of this level. Now for some of the moving up platforms here, yeah, considering that some of them are going to be going underneath a really small platforms. Yeah, meaning that, yeah, you cannot essentially just have the mini Mario stay put on them, because if you ignore them too much, then they are most likely going to drown in the water. So, yeah, make sure you're focused on them at all times. Yeah, and also making sure that if you want to get to where you want the other mini Mario stick to go. Yeah, and you're probably gonna see, yeah. I'll go over here. Yeah, I think I should be okay. Oh, right there. Yeah, as you saw it there. Yeah, yeah. If you don't have the mini Marios on the move there, yeah, then they will most likely will drop into the water. But anyways, oh yes, right. And also, if you want to get the perfect chain on this, it's definitely going to be a rather difficult one too, considering that I believe if you want to get the perfect chain on this, you not only need to have the mini Mario stay on the moving platforms, while at the same time you may want some of them to be where the circus con is, where the circus con who is right next to the door is. So then, yeah, you may want to have him just keep on juggling. But at the same time, however, you may have to keep this in mind. Yeah, if you have a mini Mario who is constantly on a platform, who is on top, yeah, who's on top while the other mini Marios are getting juggled like that, yeah, it's definitely gonna mess you up. Oh god. Okay, can I go over there? Okay, that's for you. No crap. Yeah, I didn't get the perfect combo, but well, at the very least, I managed to get every single mini Mario in there. So, I'm really thinking the best I could get for this is silver. Yeah, I'm thinking the best I'm gonna get for this is silver. Okay, yep. Yeah, just silver. Alright, so with that said, now that's all of the regular, and with that is all of the regular levels done. And now we have the very last Shy Guy of Smash minigame, which I would say is, even though it looks pretty basic at best, but you once again, oh, ow. Yeah, that's what happens when you if you accidentally touch Impa Bomb. Yeah, you essentially lose like 5. Yeah, you essentially lose like 5. Yeah, you essentially lose 5. You essentially lose 5 of your points. Yeah, so make sure that you don't tap on too much. Yeah. But anyways, now on to the final fight that we're gonna be going through before we get to the rooftop fight. And for this one, I will say, it is definitely a more unique fight than what we have gone through so far in this game. Yeah, which you'll see here. Yeah, now for this fight, Donkey Kong is just going to be constantly keep climbing on these vines. Now he's just going to be constantly moving along with these ropes here. Yeah, and as you can see, yeah, if you accidentally hit Donkey Kong with one of the mini Marios, then Donkey Kong will instantly just get rid of him. Yeah. But essentially, what you should do for this one is to essentially knock a banana on him. But however, doing a straight shot towards the bananas may not always. Yeah, it may not always work. Yeah, meaning that, yeah, if you really want to get good shots at Donkey Kong on this fight, then doing bank shots is probably going to be your very best. It's probably going to be your very best option to do. But however, if you want to do your bank shots, you will not only have to try your best to not only avoid a Donkey Kong himself, but also the Snapjaws. And also, as you can see on the bottom screen, we have the returning bird enemy from the previous Mario vs. Donkey Kong title, where the bird essentially acts similarly to what we went through with the swoops. The swoops during the last fight. But however, this bird will always keep on tabs on where your cannon is, and if you stay there for too long, then the bird will essentially go down. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a restart on this because yeah, I definitely took way too long. And honestly, I probably don't think I was gonna be finishing off with the time limit I had left. Yeah, but anyway, always have one now. Back to what I was saying about the bird. Is that, yeah, if you actually have the cannon stay there for too long, then the bird will go down and try to actually get to your mini Marios who are still inside of the cannon. And as you can see here as well, when you actually manage to hit a Donkey Kong with a banana, then the bird will start to go crazy and will constantly keep moving left and right really fast, while at the same time dropping the eggs that he actually did within the previous game. So yeah, and as you can tell, as I said, this fight is definitely a more unique fight than what we went through prior. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I guess I should say this as well, considering that I'm just about to finish this off, hopefully this time, is that now, once you are done with this fight, then you will immediately get yourself transported to the final fight on the rooftop. So, and honestly, considering that it definitely took me way longer than expected for me to get through those last 4 levels in the game. Yeah, I feel like I want to save the final fight on the rooftop. I feel like I want to save that final fight on the rooftop for last. For the next video. Yeah, considering that not only that fight may take me a while to actually get through it, but there's also something that there is also something that you can actually do as soon as you are done with that final fight. Yeah, but that's something that we're gonna be getting ourselves into after that. But anyways, yeah, I managed to clear it, but I definitely took a lot of hits, and I mean a lot. Yeah, getting the silver and gold stars on this one is definitely very complicated to do. Yeah, especially with all the especially with the trouble that I had to go through just then. But as everyone, with that said, that should be all. That should be all for now. we shall get to the final fight for the next one. And so, till then, I'll see you guys next time.